What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thought Provoking Podcast. Today we'll be discussing breaking family curses today, and I got some special guests in the building. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Brittany Stewart, also
Brittany
known as the
Stewart,
Social Chef.
social chef. And
Hi, and I'm Latoya Alford.
I appreciate you ladies coming through. And we got EC alumni in here, just so
Yay,
just
yay.
so people are aware. Everybody come from the same high school. Ladies, I want to start off with on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you both at mentally? On a scale of 1 to 10.
That's so subjective. I'm about a 7.75.
7.75. You might be the highest. That's the came
Yeah,
out
I'm about to
so
say.
far.
I mean, I got some stuff going on in the background,
Okay,
but overall, I'm about a 7.75.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the day. I guess today, I'm gonna say a 6.
At a 6.
Yeah.
Is there anything that can be implemented in your life to get you a little higher?
Just once all this, personal stuff clear and die down, I think I'll be good. I did my workout today, so that
That's
helped
a
me.
win.
Fitness.
Yeah, that
okay.
helped
Yeah,
me
that's
get
a
up there extra
win.
point for the day. But yeah,
Getting it in with the fitness.
Trying.
And that's been something that you've been incorporating in your life for quite a while now, right?
Yes, I think that's like my therapy.
You might be a little
Clearance.
motivation for a lot of people
Yeah,
too, because
I
I see people kind of peep what you're doing. I watch myself. I can't mentally wrap my mind around going. I want to look the part, but going now that's something totally different right there. Now
Now, if I could only control my eating, so
It's hard up
Yeah.
here.
so let me ask you, ladies, has the pandemic affected you all in any type of way?
Absolutely. More than anything, it made me. Let me turn a little bit here. More than anything, it made me go after what I really wanted. Like before, I was like hesitant. Like I technically reached the height of my business during the pandemic. So more than anything, it made me be like, all right, it's either now or never, because you can be up out of here today or tomorrow, if the Lord see fit.
Okay.
So it definitely took that by the head. It also took by the head how we consume information.
Yes.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist by far, but I am one of those people that looked at the media like, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all don't know what y'all doing.
I know you lie.
Yeah, like, come on. And then, for people of color, it's a whole nother ball game and how we got to protect ourselves. It definitely made me take better care of myself more.
Okay.
Especially knowing like family history and what they suffer from, and as I'm watching like my parents getting up in age, and all the older heads in my family, and just like nah, I can't go out for diabetes over something I can control. Like that ain't gonna work for me. So more than
Most
anything,
definitely.
it just made me like pay attention.
What would you say?
I feel as though with
Yeah,
when
get you
COVID-
into the mic a little bit
Sorry.
into the mic.
When COVID hit, it kind of like put me in a depression. Like I work remote from my full-time job, and I'm so used to being around people. Like, so with my job, I interact with the community. I go out to the people's homes. I talk to people over the phone. But I needed that interaction, and then I go to the gym and work out. So when everything closed down, it was just me and myself, and I was in the house just. All right, today, Toya, what you gonna do? We gonna do this? We gonna do that? Like, found myself talking to myself, and found myself crying, and I felt myself like basically thinking about my situation, like, and just overly thinking about it. And so I needed that outlet. I found myself on the internet just buying a treadmill and buying a rowing machine. Like, I needed that. I needed to be able to work out. I needed to be able to like get myself focused on something other than COVID.
Yeah, you needed that release, that outlet. I found myself getting on the highway a lot. I'm a big music person, so when everything was shut down, you couldn't really go nowhere. I would get on the highway and just play music. Like, music is a big part of my life where it just makes me forget about anything else. This is just my time to just focus on me and enjoy life for what it is. And, things that you would normally take for granted in those moments is, giving you a sense of clarity to say, wow, okay, I really want to get more into this, or like you said, the business aspect of it. Seeing so many folks launch businesses and take them to new heights that maybe they wouldn't have never did before the pandemic actually started. So it was, one of those things for myself. Now, you did speak about your business. You are a
Yeah,
businesswoman, which I
yeah.
definitely want to get into that.
And let's be clear, I didn't want to become a businesswoman. I'm gonna be honest
Okay.
in that front. I did not want to become a businesswoman. It was not trendy for me to do. Matter of fact, Jared could tell you. Shout out to Midwest Eats.
Midwest East, Jared
He
Blevis,
would
who
tell
just catered my brunch.
he would tell me all the time, like, you got all these ideas, but you don't. I was like, man, I really just want to hang out. Like, I'm cool over here. What happened is I kept coming up with ideas. And I kept coming up with solutions to problems. So finally, I was like, all right. Whether it's on the food tip, I am a marketer, PR, communications person by trade. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just put some out there. I want to say back in 2018 is when I first officially started my business.
Okay.
But it was not what it is today. So the name of my business is called The Social Chef. It's a food and travel blog that also does travel advising. I host master courses, and I have a seasoning line, which you guys may know or may seen in Midwest Eats. So that seasoning portion is really what kicked off during the pandemic. Shout out to all my people who have restaurants and catering, because that is some work.
Yes,
I got to be honest. Like, I offered a meal prep service for about 9 months through my business pre-pandemic, and I was always traveling. Like pre-pandemic, I was always in a different country every month. So like people was wanting subscriptions, and I was just like, I can't keep up with this. The seasoning, the master courses, and from then on, I was like, anything that I create in my business, I want it to be able to be residual. Like, I'm going in business so I can have my time back. That's what it's more important to me. Like, I want to be on the couch. I want to be,
money.
you know what I mean, up here chilling with my family, and like, you know, hey, orders coming in. Somebody just purchased a class because it's on residual, something like that. I don't want to have like, where my hands are touching something for me to make money, because then like I want to make money in my sleep. Like that's the goal. That's the goal for me.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I'm learning from you by just listening. Like,
I do want to know, since you've incorporated this working out into your life, and it's almost like a therapy for you, it seems like. Have you ever thought about going down the direction of being a trainer or any of that?
I mean, I get so many people that ask me about that. I don't know. So now it's like, maybe I should. I do it so much, but not even like, you know, maybe selling waist trainers or, you know, the bands, workout bands, you know, but maybe if I get put into the right person to help me learn more about it, maybe it is something I should consider. I mean, everybody else has their business.
We're going to try and connect that.
Yeah, I
for you.
see.
Yeah.
We're going to try and connect that. So if
Yeah.
anybody out there that's listening that can help my sister out, you make sure you reach out to her. Can you give your social media information just in case there's somebody looking?
Well, I'm on Facebook. You can find me at Toya Latoya, name Latoya, Latoya, Toya Toya. Email address latoya309@live.com. If you want to connect me, help me out. That's the move, is getting into your own business. So.
Yeah, it is.
Like
Even
that.
when you don't want to. Like,
Y'all ready?
let's go.
Ready.
Let's get it. Topic time. Breaking family curses. So I would say breaking family curses overall is negative habits or traits that's passed down. Would y'all agree that that's kind of what it is? So I want to start with you all.
Okay.
Whoever wants to take it first. What are some family curses that you have had to break in your life?
Ooh. Okay. I'll jump in. So first I'm gonna talk about the positive side.
Okay.
And then we'll get into the curse side. I come from a 2-parent household. My parents are almost been together for about 40 years.
Blessing. Shout out to your parents.
I ain't say they like each other. No, no, I'm just kidding. But I think the thing for me was coming from that 2-parent household, I was able to see 2 different dynamics. So parenting comes in from how you grew up.
Yeah.
And my mother and father grew up 2 very different ways. Where my dad, and I'm paraphrasing, white picket fence, and the dog,
Cosby family. Cosby
yeah, a
family.
little bit. They had they ups and downs dynamics. Whereas my mom, what I'm saying, I don't know what Calumet Projects was before Calumet Projects, but it was that.
The brickyard.
Yeah.
The brickyard. It was the brickyard.
Yeah, like grandma had like, 6 kids and had to carry them. She was single, you know what I'm saying? Had, these, different child's fathers, blah, blah, blah. They had all that dynamic. So just the level of affection, I'm gonna start there.
Okay.
So like in my personal relationships now, when it comes to like my male friends or anybody that I'm dealing with in a relationship, like it's easy for me to show affection or like care for that male, which is different for most women. But you know what I mean? Like I had my dad still texts me good night every day. Like even the fact that I'm in Florida, like he's always did that. Like when I was leaving, I left the house. He was look out the window, like, are you going yet? Like, you know what I'm saying? He still do that. Like even when I cross the street, he still reach his hand back to see him. I'm like, I gave him a high five one time. I'm like, bro, I'm grown now. My mom, on the other hand, is hey, yes, oh, okay. You called? Oh, okay. Like, you know what I mean? It's very not as much as he would give, just based off their mother relationships. And I saw how that played out in a lot of my female relationships. Like I am very seldom, like even with my best friend now, like it's very seldom for me to say, like, I love you, sis. It's like I show my affection like, you got to get up and get this done, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like quit playing. Like, nah, like we ain't finna do that. Like I push her like to the max, and that's me saying like, I love you.
So it's a lot hard for you.
Yes, it is.
I want to point this out. This affection and love thing has been the theme on this podcast for a little while now. So I don't know if these are signs that's coming to me because this is what I struggle with or not, but but continue.
I got you. It wasn't until recently, like one of my homegirls, she came to Florida not too long ago, and we was in the car like hugging and crying, and that wasn't something I was used to. Like it borderline felt uncomfortable. Like it was like, wait, nah, we G's. Like, come on, man. Like come on, man. Like, come on, let's go get this money. Like whatever we came to do. Like kind of like pits and skirts type thing. But when it's with men, oh, you hungry? Oh, you got it? Okay, how you doing today? Good morning. How was your day? Like, because that's how my dad interact with me.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I kind of thought that it would be the other way around because like you would be you're the girl, you would be like more so like your mom and like
it's the other way around. Like with my male friends that just a platonic relationship, like that's affection with a man is easy to me. Like it comes very natural.
That's interesting though.
Well, I mean, for me, I grew up in a single parent home. My dad basically lived up the street and around the corner, but I really never really got to have that interaction with him. Like me and my brother, we would be like, all right, now we're about to go to our dad's house. We're going to ask him for some money. Like, all right, no, you did it last time. I would do it this time. Like, I wanted that. I would see my friends, like, have dad, daughter, or, just the relationship with their siblings, with their father. And I was like, dang, I'm just looking at them like, dang, I wish my dad, like, showed me affection and stuff like that. And then being in a home with my mom and my other brothers, it was like, for my mom, it was like, the way she showed love was like, all right now, like, I made your food, like, get up, just being really aggressive. So I don't know. I think that really does play a part in my, relationships and even with male friends, my brothers and stuff. Like, we very affectionate, like, I love you, all right, I love you. But it's like, when we don't say we love each other, it's like we basically yelling at each other all the time, or we still get into it. It's like, but I love you though. I still love you. It was like the way that we show we love each other was like being aggressive and just, I don't know. It affected me in my adulthood a lot.
That's interesting. I guess it's my turn to get into it.
Yeah, tap in.
I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna go a little deeper than what y'all have went. Effective communication. By me being a parent now, I've realized how much that plays a factor in relationships. When I was younger, I was sexually active very early. And we used to have, y'all remember White's Records in Chicago? So we would go in there and you could get condoms out of there for $1.
I remember that.
So because I was already sexually active at a very young age, I would go get my protection and, have my little fun when I wasn't supposed to and that was that. My mother would still be washing clothes and stuff in my room. So she would take my stuff downstairs, and you go through the pocket, see if any money or anything's in there, and she would find these condoms. So I would come home, and it started where she would throw the condoms on the bed. So I guess let me know, hey, I seen these. We never had a conversation about it, but the condoms would be there. Well, I'm still sexually active. It didn't stop the show for me. It was just like, okay, it's here.
Like, thanks for putting that up there.
I'm gonna use that, so don't worry about it. And as things kept going, she would find them still. Now I feel like, you can start washing my stuff. I could wash my own, but she's still washing it. Cool. And now it got to a point where we didn't have a conversation about it. She initially started putting them on the bed, but now she's opening them. And she's rolling the condom on the door handle.
What?
So now you're going to force a conversation because now you can't act like you didn't see this condom on your actual.
Slippery.
And it's like, how? Like, what are we accomplishing here? Like, let me know. First off, you should be not proud that I'm having sex, but the fact that I am having protected sex, I would think that I would get credit for that. Second, where's the conversation about having sex? The difference in saying, are you sure that you know about protecting yourself? Are you putting it on right? Or, are you really getting consent from these women that you're sexually active with? Knowing what the law is, because instantly, once a woman holler rape, now you have to prove that you did not do it.
Right.
We had no conversation about that at all. So I look at my kids now and I say, man, I went through this whole experience. Okay, now I'm going to have this conversation with my kids when that time comes, and, you thinking about it, and have open communication to where you feel like, okay, well, not that my dad is encouraging it, but if those feelings occur and I want to go down that road, I feel comfortable enough to have this conversation with my father and say, hey, Dad, this is what I'm feeling. That way I could say, hey, I'm not encouraging you to do it, but obviously we know kids. Kids going to do what they want to do. Here's some protection. Right. Understand the difference in, this woman being serious of saying, yes, I want this versus no. Because a lot of times kids, have access to the internet. You can watch porn for free. It ain't like back in the day where you had to pay for it. This is free.
Or the cheetah box.
Yeah, the cheetah box. So on these videos, you got women in here who saying no, and it's all a role, and the guy's taking it anyway, and it looks so sexual, and you just like, oh man. In the kid's mind, he doesn't know that no, that's rape when she say no for real. You get yourself in a world of trouble. Now you'll have to deal with that person's parents, feeling like you raped my child, and where that parent's mindset is at, how you could scar this woman, whatever goes on into this. Knowing to stay out of other people's house. Not that you should be doing it in my house, but I'm just saying you don't want to get caught in somebody else. Just everyday life situations surrounding sex. My mom handled it so poorly. And to this day, we've never had a conversation about sex. I don't know if my grandmother dealt with things with her like that, and that's what she knew to do, and that made sense. But that's something that I always looked at and was just like, first, it's stupid, Second, as being younger, you didn't open my rubber, and I could have used that, you like, that was stupid, and there was, like I said, no consequence behind it. So that was one thing that I wanted to break, because I have two younger boys, and I'm like, no, I want my kids to feel comfortable to have any kind of line of communication with me. And it just doesn't have to be sex, whatever the situation may be. Deal with it as an adult. You're the adult. Do y'all know, like, literally talking about being tested so you can make sure you don't have STDs? Thank God I had a sister who engaged with me like that. She was taking me to Planned Parenthood, and this is how you get yourself checked, and these are the STDs that's out there. Make sure you put a rubber on right. My sister encouraged that, telling me you don't want to have a kid too early, and a kid by just any and everybody. So that was one thing that I would sit there and say was an issue, but I want to, swing it back around just in case there's anything.
I think we got to remember too, open lines of communication as far as like parenting, even with relationships, like that's a new age thing. Mm-hmm. Let's remember, the old school way of what goes on in his house stays in his house. Yeah. I actually had one of my elders tell me that I was disrespectful because I voiced how I felt about something.
Ooh.
And that they just felt like, like I was I'm just telling you how I felt. Like I could tell you how I felt. And they just felt like no, you can't.
Right.
But let's remember why they think like that though. They think like that because they couldn't do that with their mothers and their fathers and their, grandmas. It was like pretty much do as I say, don't ask no questions, and that was the end of it. And to some degree, I'm not completely against that because let's remember that was a method of survival back then. Like that's how they survive. You do what, you trusted that I told you was something in good faith and you did it and that was that. It wasn't until I think, our millennial generation is something very, very interesting. Like we are very much game changers in so many dynamics. We started to be like, well, why do I need to close the door as soon as I come home from school and lock it? Like why do I need to do that? Like, well, why can't I just go around the back? Like, wouldn't this make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like we were the one who started to question those things, and because we were the ones that started to question those things, we were the one that said, okay, let's do this a little differently. This wasn't effective for this time. And this won't be effective for my time. So let's change the game a little bit.
Yeah.
So now we are starting to have conversations about communication, what happened when I was a kid, so on and so forth. So in a lot of instances, we are the ones who are teaching our parents now.
Yeah. That's
So.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Want to add to that?
Well, to touch on what you were saying about sex and everything, I also, my mom never taught us anything about sex or, how to put on a condom, or you're not supposed to, have these many partners, or just sex in general. Like we didn't have that conversation. I just remember as a kid, me and my 3 brothers sitting on the couch, and there was an ABC special going on. And she's like, "Okay, you guys watch that." And then me and my brothers are like, "Okay, what's this about?" And I think it was HIV or something. And we're like, I think she pretty much scared us. Like at that point, I don't even want to have sex at all.
It's a scare tactic.
Yeah,
it was a scare tactic.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, and to get a little bit deeper, I didn't have, I didn't have boyfriends and sexual experiences like that throughout high school, middle school. I didn't talk to boys like that because I was basically scared. My mom basically scared me to death. I didn't even want to engage in it. If you mess with a boy, you're going to get pregnant. I just seen everybody else in school oh, dang, she's 14 years old, she's pregnant. I just figured okay, if a boy like you, he kiss you, you're going to get pregnant. I was just basically scared. So
I didn't get the sex talk either. I got thrown a book. What happened was when they found out that I was actually sexually active, I was messing around with this little young man from driver's ed school.
What's the name? You let me out the house now. That's it.
Gotta go. And then I thought, because I had missed my cycle that month, and I was like, oh shit.
Real.
Yeah, so I thought something was going on, but it wasn't. Matter of fact, it ended up coming 2 days after I actually spoke up and said something. But then that's when they was like, okay, my mom was like, so you're not a virgin? I was like, no. And then it was then she got mad, and I went to my room, and that was the end of that. But it was never no formal conversation.
Right.
It wasn't until recent years my mama had made a sexual reference, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. She was like, yeah, I kind of failed y'all on the sex talk. I'm like, yeah, by this time we probably can tell you some things. But yeah, it wasn't a conversation. It wasn't even when it comes to puberty. It wasn't a conversation. It wasn't hey, let's sit down and talk about what's going on with your body and all these new developments. Yeah. It was almost here you go, put that on.
Same thing happened to me too. I think I even hid it from my mom that was getting my period. I thought I was about to die. I think I was 13.
Yeah.
13, 14 years old. I'm sorry to even get into it, but I was 13, 14 years old. I thought I was dying. I was getting my period, whatever, and I was like, Ma, Ma, I'm bleeding.
No, for real though.
And then my mom was like, here you go. Exactly. Now you got to tell me every month. I'm like, I don't want to tell you every month. I think it started an argument with my mom. I was like,
no, I want to say I started when I was 12, and I remember I got a whooping that day. Because I lied about something in school, and I tried to use my period as a cop out, and I was like, "But I'm bleeding." Here you go, pop. It was still but you to get this work
Right.
done. I tried everything to avoid that. I remember that. But like, yeah, it wasn't a formal conversation. It was just kind of like, like, here you go, do this, and that's it.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
we were failed.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did what they knew to do at the time.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I don't think anybody had a formal conversation with them. And when it comes to sex or periods or getting your like, I don't think they had anybody to. I know for my mom specifically, like my grandma was everywhere. Truthfully, you know what I'm saying. So like, I know that a lot of stuff that my mom learned along the way came from my oldest auntie. And she really looked out for it, but where did that come from with my oldest auntie? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So like, they just both out here, the blind leading the blind, and say, well, this work, this don't work. So you know what I mean? So here we go. I mean, then we become the trial and error kids of what they learned.
Really
And what's crazy to me about it is what I noticed when it comes to a lot of curses that you would consider going on in the family. A lot of stuff that our parents hated that their parents did, they did the exact same thing.
Yes.
So how are you able to recognize this is not good, but you do the exact same? I never understood that.
Because you know what? I think now we have so many tools, so many outlets. Therapy is glamorized now.
Yeah.
Self-care is glamorized now. The idea of you don't have to work. You can sit on the couch and make some money. Like, you know what I mean? Just that idea. Like, I work remotely too. And my dad came to visit me, and he was like, still like on this notion that I need to clock in somewhere. I'm like, I don't clock in. Like,
that's old now.
Yeah, like he was like, well, how they know you are? I was like, they know I'm online. They getting these emails. They know I'm. But just that idea of like new age stuff and just like translating that to them now. That wasn't a thing then.
I want to throw one out to y'all.
Listen.
And I don't know if y'all had to experience this.
Okay.
But one that I want to break, well, I am breaking. Accepting ignorance from family members because of their title.
Go a little deeper on that one. Explain that.
Okay, so I'll give you a prime example.
Okay.
Years ago, we did a Country Wayne show. And we were the first to book Country Wayne in the Midwest. So we all get them. Great show. We sell the show out. We got people lined up outside just saying, man, I know ain't no more seats, but can I just stand up just to see them? Like, everybody was hyped for the show, and we like, can't, unfortunately. It's a good night. So my grandmother calls, God rest her soul, who has passed away about a year ago. She calls and she says, Jay, my middle name is Jason, so family go by Jason. Jay, I'm so proud of you. I heard you did that show, and it was packed. Everybody was in there. I was like, with the big... yeah, Grandma, we did it. Man, that's so good to hear. You know what you should do? You should buy me a car. Because I know you made some real money off of that. And it instantly made me feel like, ooh, like, you done stole the joy from me. But my grandmother was the type that she didn't necessarily want you asking her for nothing, but she asked you for something. But she had the year, the make and model. She knew what she wanted.
She already been plotting.
And I'm just
she
like,
wanted that car.
wow. Because she's my grandmother, or because it's an aunt or an uncle, you're supposed to accept bad behavior because, that's just who they are. No.
Yeah.
Now, I pay my own bills. I'm going to tell you, you can get the hell on out my face.
I'm gonna
now,
tell you
I
how
don't like
feel.
that drunk uncle that continues to, hey, nephew. No, get on up out my face, man. Now I'm comfortable to where, I flat have an uncle that I will never answer the phone for. Because every time the call comes through, there's an ask for money. But you can't get shit out of him. I don't have to deal with that. Whereas normally, people, that's still your uncle. That's still your such and such. No. I don't have to accept that bullshit behavior because of a title. No, those days are over. Have y'all experienced that? I'm just curious.
So our generation is very good at drawing the line of boundaries. Like, we got introduced to that word and we said, oh, We could draw a line that nobody can cross, and we could be in our box, and we don't have to accept X. Oh, let me exercise that.
Yeah.
And so much so, people without them, whether regardless of what age they are, they don't understand that philosophy. Like, oh, you got boundaries. Like you not playing with your boundaries. Like you actually, like mean what you say. Like I will tell, like I've had family members that I prefer not to deal with, and I would tell them, like they'll reach out to me, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up? Somebody die? No, like no, I'm just checking on you. Well, I don't mess with you like that. So what's up? Yeah, like is it something I should know about? Like, and I've had family members get on me. Like everybody think I'm mean in my family. Everybody do. Like everybody think I'm mean, and I just gotta. No, but I mean what I say, and I say, well, my yes is a yes, my no is a no. Like I'm very firm in that because I'm very comfortable in who I am, and I had to develop that. So you think all the work that I did on myself, I'm gonna let you come down and tear down because you don't know that? You better go on somewhere. But yeah, once again, that's seen as disrespectful.
Yeah. Well, I guess that I was disrespectful as a child because, like, if I didn't like something or I was very opinionated, and I would get slapped in the mouth all the time because I would voice my opinion. So, like, when you say about boundaries and like putting up with certain things with our families, like, I understand what you mean. But as a child, I had my opinion and I said it, and it was wrong to them, but I wanted to be respected too, even though like I'm a child.
Yeah. I think a lot of adults, especially like baby boomer generation, even Generation X, has this idea of like they can't learn from a child, or they can't.
I'm the adult.
I'm the adult, so
right.
I'm here. Yeah,
right,
even though like it's dead wrong and it makes no sense. As a matter of fact, it's harmful to you. Like there's still the idea like I'm here, you're there, so you need to treat me like X based off my title.
Based off the Bible too, because they will always.
They'll throw that in there. They'll throw that in there.
That's what I want to say. Man, you ain't even want to go this Sunday. Gotta throw that out there. Is there any other curses that you all see in family, friends, or in other families that you could instantly point out and say, no, that ain't really right. But again, it ain't your situation. So at the time, you weren't able to speak on it. But now being an adult, and you can recognize it. Have y'all seen that? And putting y'all on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be transparent with this, and I'm gonna talk about relationships on this one. So me as a daddy's girl, I have this affectionate with men. I a lot of times attract men with mommy issues. And I started noticing this right around about 23, 24. Like right before, I'm like, what? Like, okay, your mom passed away. Y'all had some unresolved issues. Your mom, she left you, and now you think XYZ. Your mom did that. And I'm just like, I just had to like sit for a minute. Like I drew out a chart. Like I was like, so who got the relate? It can go one way or the other. It can go the way in which it has been processed and they recognize like, okay, I need to move past these behaviors. Or it can be a very challenging situation in the sense of they don't know why they do what they do. So I've dealt with that. I've seen that. I remember I went on a hiatus, like I'm asking everybody what they do with their mothers. Like because if it don't check out to some type of improvement, progression, something, I'll be like, yeah. Because it's a lot to deal with as a woman. Like when you are dating somebody and, like you said, like they're not affectionate with you or they, you know what I'm saying? They only talk to you when, they trying to buy you something. Like it is like, especially because I get that from my dad. And, I'll go ahead and add, like I've come from a long generation of men leading. Like I met my great grandfather when I was 8 years old. My granddaddies, my uncles, my brother, like they make sure that they provide and do for, their family. So when I don't see that, to me, that's an instant like, oh, like I actually had somebody recently say, like I was super independent and, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nah, it ain't that. It's more so of, I know what it looked like and I know what it looks like to be demonstrated. So when you don't fall in that bracket in some capacity, I'm like,
I can spot that.
Yeah.
And call it out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
See, we don't want it called out.
No, we don't want it.
You can spot it out, but don't put me on blast.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what it really
exactly.
is. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You got anything?
I mean, shoot. I was told that I live in a fantasy world because I always saw how my aunt and uncle treated each other in their marriage, and like I always wanted that in my marriage. Like I wanted a man to actually take the lead, and instead of me being the woman, like feeling like I've got to be the mom figure, like, and being hidden. You know, I guess like some men in this day and age, they feel a certain way, like the woman's supposed to be doing the cooking, the cleaning. But why am I doing the cooking, the cleaning, and I work 2 jobs? Like, and
Listen, I don't mind doing the cooking and the cleaning. However, you got to provide the groceries. You got to provide the house for me to do it in.
Yeah.
I can't I can't do it without those. So like you got to come first for you to do that. And a lot of times they don't want to do that.
And I feel like it's a control thing these days. Like the men just want to be in control. They have their vision of what a wife's supposed to be, and it's not the same in 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
No.
What would y'all say a lot of that comes from?
Because of the way that we were taught how a marriage is supposed to be, how a wife's supposed to be, how a husband's supposed to be, and it was all a lie.
So you think it's taught in the household?
It's especially taught in the black family because they say this is how you're supposed to keep your man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So mine's come from my parents directly. My mom, 9 to 5, corporate America, you know, blah, blah, blah. Actually, my dad took us to our doctor's appointments and picked us up for school clothes and stuff like that. He even made dinner.
Yeah, shout out to your daddy.
Right, you had a
daddy. You had a daddy. Boy.
real, right?
I'm about to start my daddy grave down another 6 feet, boy, after this one.
So, you know, I saw that. So, again, that's what I look for. So, I don't know. And that's another myth. Just because you come from a 2-parent household, when you date somebody who has a 2-parent household, like I dated this one guy, PK, pastor's kid. So he watched his mom cook, clean, you know what I'm saying, stay in the house, do all the things, and while his dad did, you know, XYZ, you know, man stuff. So when I dated him, he had this notion of like, oh, if I marry you, you're going to be barefoot and pregnant. I'm like, no, I'm going to be traveling the world doing my business and things. Like, why can't like, he was like, nah, like a woman ain't supposed to do that. Yeah, actually, my parents been together for 40 years, and my mama did that for over half of their marriage, and they good. Matter of fact, they were able to move mountains together because she had her income, he had his, blah, blah, you know, and move forward. It wasn't just one person running the ship. It was togetherness.
A real team.
It was a togetherness. Like, I'll never forget this one time I came home from school. This might have been the summertime, matter of fact. I guess my daddy forgot to pay the water bill. like whatever happened there. My dad was like, go outside, see if you see a blue flag in the yard. I was like, I opened the window. I was like, yeah, there's one out there. He said, oh, dang. I was like, what happened? He was like, let me call you back. I get this water coat on for your mama find out.
It's about to get real at that point.
Long story short, my mama found out. But here's how she played it so cool. You remember when they first put the Harris Casino out there? Mm-hmm. Like back when like kids can actually go? Like she had like this like little free coupon voucher thing. It was like, oh, it's family night at the Harris. Like she like jazzed it up.
Right,
Meanwhile, she was cussing him out.
Giving it to her.
But that's just an example of how I've seen them like actively work together in a partnership. Like, has it been ups and downs and, you know, all that thing? Absolutely, it's a marriage. Yeah. But that's one of the things that I experience in my relationships, or like an expectation that I have to communicate out. Like, just because we get in an argument or just because you do something wrong, that don't mean it's over. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? That don't mean it's done. Like, we work through this together. I've seen my parents go through 2 rounds of cancer. My mom just lost, like, sight in one of her eyes. Like, people dying, family, you know, like, just all this stuff. And I will say, through that, I've seen them like really ride together on so many fronts.
What it's supposed to be about, like never giving up, continue to try. Like,
absolutely,
that's what a real marriage is supposed to be.
Yeah. About. So when I get into like, oh, we had an argument, you done. I'm like, wait, no, like we just had an argument. We just ain't talking today. We'll talk tomorrow. Yeah. Like,
supposed to be. Like,
So.
The thing that I'll say that I notice that it seems to be guiding people's mindsets and the way they move. It's social media real tough. So, you'll go through this whole period where guys is, the bros before hoes, which is so stupid
I
because
still
my
see
thing
people do
is
that.
if
Like
this your
guys.
girl, she ain't the hoe.
Right,
So
right.
let's put that out there. If this your girl, she ain't the hoe. So that don't
Exactly.
apply. That don't apply.
That no longer applies.
That no longer applies. But then you go through the era where you see the Nipsey Hustles and his woman, and you see them taking the picture. Now it becomes cool. The celebrities with their woman, and now it's like, oh no, I want that. I want the women. But then you have, these memes get posted. And I talked about it in the previous episodes about the Justin LeBoy. If you go 50-50 with your man, he's no longer your man and y'all staying together. He's your roommate. And, a lot of women now is, oh no, I'll never do that. It's like, what side of the fence are you going to be on? Whatever's the new hot topic through social media, that's shaping how you are. When you got, a rapper like a Boosie or whoever your main celebrity is saying, this is how I want my relationship to be. This is how I expect my woman to be. Now you got the guy stepping up saying, oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want that too. The Kevin Samuels is guiding people as well.
Yeah.
Not just the men, but the women as well. A lot of women now want a high value man. And it's like, okay, not to say that it's wrong for you to want what you want. You want it. Hopefully you deserve it. Hopefully you get it. But that's what I think is shaping the minds of so many folks. So me and you are not having a conversation about, our relationship and what we can do to build. Right. I'm letting social media dictate what I think you should be doing. And because they said it, you need to do it. And this is how I validate that this is true because they said it. Yeah. I see a lot more of that versus what you have in being able to say, no, I really experienced it with my mother and my father. This is what I grew up on. This is the love that I saw. We looking at it through social media. We scrolling through Instagram early in the morning. Oh man, Ari and Moneybag Yo did such. Oh my God, you got to come with it. If my man ain't applying pressure like this, and that sounds good, but you not knowing what's the same way he applying that pressure for this social media video. He probably applying some real pressure to another woman's backside behind your back, and you can't see it. So I think we got to definitely stop that and encourage more of what your mother and father has had, more communication amongst each other, and have serious conversations about what's meaningful to us, what feels good, what we can see that we can add to the relationship to where we can initially get those, 30 to 40, 50 years that your parents has experienced, because that's almost like a lost art.
Yeah, and I didn't really realize that until I got to college. And it was crazy because I remember specifically me and a couple of my friends who grew up very similar to how I grew up. So I went to EC, but I always lived in Miller. Like I never knew that. I never lived in EC. Like I had an EC address. We did that thing.
So you ain't really no EC alumni. I gotta take that back. You technically
I did though. Like I went to Washington, I went to Block, and then I went to Central. I never went to school in Gary.
Wow.
Like ever. So always lived in Miller. And one of my homegirls brought this point up the other day. She was like, do you realize we all grew up the same way? And I was like, what do you mean? Yeah. We all grew up with our mother and our fathers in our household. And we just started going through the neighborhood kids on the block. We was like, okay, yep, Danielle, Reggie, Lamont, yep, Tori, yep. Like we just start going through. We was like, dang, we really did grow up like that. And I had so when I went to East Chicago, I had a couple of friends like that, but then I had some friends that didn't, even cousins included. And when I sat down and I really realized that, I was like, wow, that is like a lost thing. When I sat down and really realized that, I was like, that is a lost thing. And then when I got to college and I started to see like people's behaviors for real, I'm like, oh,
so you gravitated towards those type of friends because of how your background was?
I don't know. I didn't gravitate. I think it was just more of a
gravitate to you.
Yeah, like I remember I had one friend. She used to always want to come to my house. Like she used to always want to come to my house, and I remember her specifically saying like, "Nah, I don't know if my mom gonna do all that." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was, I forget what it was, but I remember. I don't know if you remember back in the day. I used to hate Tough Aisha. Like,
Okay.
yeah. Like,
yeah.
so, like, I didn't realize that I was doing it, so maybe I was gravitating towards it. Because in my mind, I guess it makes, like, oh, okay, like, we in trouble, like, call your mama. Okay. She didn't answer, call your daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? I didn't realize that I had those resources and that my friends around me, like, had the time. Okay, your mama gonna drop us off at Skate World. My mama gonna pick us up. All right, she ain't available. Did you call your dad? Like, I didn't realize that was, like, a real thing.
I always wish I had that.
You know what? I did for the longest growing up without my father in the household until I got old enough to accept. My father was on and off of drugs. Later on in life, he cleaned himself up. And I don't know if y'all remember the New Creation Center that was over in the harbor.
Mm-hmm.
But he went from being on drugs to helping other people clean their life up. And for whatever reason, he went back to going on and off of it. And at that point, I felt, okay, you're choosing this drug over being a parent, over your family. You and my mom don't have to be together. You still got kids out here. At that point, I didn't think that I was missing anything. But later on in life, I realized I didn't necessarily need him. I just needed a father figure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I needed somebody to look to for direction.
Right.
Because your mom can only give you what she can give
Yeah.
you. She can't feel the role of a father. And, not to go too far off topic, but I'm going to tell you how it affected me, where I realized going to the basketball court, something as simple as that, shooting up shots because my father told me he would come play basketball. Or I'm trying to get my shots in so when he come, I'm going to school him and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. My mother would watch from a distance and know that my father wasn't coming, and she'd try and fill that void of my father not coming, and I used to hate her. Because I used to be like, leave, because if he see you, he's not going to come.
Oh.
But she knew the whole time, he's never coming. He had no intentions on coming. It took me years later to really realize the impact that had. Because again, she's trying to fill a void, but me not knowing, because she never used to shit on him and be like, your daddy's a junkie. He was this. What she would do is, and I think this is a family, I would say a curse that I want to break. Not shitting on the parent when they lack something, but if you're going to smooth it over with how you break it to them, then don't jump on the phone later and say what the real is. Because, again, my father had a drug addiction. She would say, your father's sick. He has a sickness. So sickness always registered to me. But she'd get right beside me where she thinking, oh, he watching TV, ain't really paying attention. Jump right on the phone with my aunt. And then that's when the crackhead conversation comes, the junkie, and he stole this, and I'm thinking, whoa.
That ain't what you told me.
Whoa.
That ain't what you said.
My daddy got a sickness. You ain't finna just throw on my daddy like that. You got a sickness. My daddy wasn't stealing. But it didn't get real at that point. So, looking at the breaking curses, if you gonna smooth it over, make sure the kid ain't in the room.
Right.
Yeah, you got
it. Back in the day, how would they tell us you're not supposed to be in the room while adults having the conversation?
Right. There.
You on the phone with an adult, like we not supposed to be in the room, right?
Yeah.
Well, we know how to project.
Yeah.
Some of us know how to project houses. You at the top of the steps, you can hear everything that's in there. So everybody want this privilege.
Oh, see, and that's why you know what? For a long time, I didn't tell people that. Like
that's so sad. Though.
But I did not tell people
you
that.
Wanted to be,
yeah, like it was like I didn't want to be. I didn't want the comment of, "Oh, you got the silver spoon in your mouth," which I did get junior and senior year, and I remember me and Brittany Jordan would talk a lot about that, and we would be like, "Yeah, they talking about like, nah, it ain't like we got a lot of money. It's just that." They just do what they need to do to make sure the lights stay on. Mm-hmm. They just do what they need to do to make sure I go to school with clean clothes. Like, it wasn't that we was rich. Matter of fact, it was a period of time when my mom, she lost her job in that corporate space. Mm. It was they had to work overtime. Like we had, like I said, the water got cut off. Like what I'm saying, we had our stuff, but it was just how we maneuvered it. What made it so much different. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I'll just be like in the background, my daddy come and pick me up. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
like bring to your daddy. I said, all right, bye. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I wouldn't say it because like that's just wasn't that wasn't the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I guess I kind of like resented my dad and my mom because we I basically moved all around East Chicago. I lived in the harbor. I lived over there. I went to Franklin, Lincoln. Then I went to Cary Gosh and came to the projects. And I kind of was like upset with my mom growing up because like I didn't have a bed. Like we grew up poor. My mom didn't work. We was getting clothes from the thrift store. Like people passing down. Everything I had growing up was passed down. And like I remember I lived across the street from Lincoln School, and I didn't have a bed. Me and my mom shared a room. It was mice all in the that apartment building. At nighttime, I would throw the cover over my head so I wouldn't hear the mice, whatnot. And I was like, dang, mom, like why we gotta live here? Like why can't we stay with my dad? Like my dad basically knew that he had kids, and you wasn't making sure that your kids was good. And like we didn't have regular conversations and communication like that. Like it just really made me feel like resentment towards my mom and my dad. Like why my life couldn't be like better. Why we gotta live in the projects? I always was mad about that. I understand why. I always wanted more. So that was kind of like breaking family curses with why I think I go so hard now with working 2 jobs and stuff because I don't want to go back to the struggle. And I probably didn't have children while I watch other people have children now because I'm like, dang, I feel like my life isn't where it should be. So I don't want to bring children in this world and I'm not where I need to be because what if I lose my job? What if I can't do it by myself? Yeah, I was married, but look what happened. I'm always thinking about the what ifs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Do you ever try and find an outlet to express that, whether it's through friends or any of that?
I actually am in therapy. And sometimes I try to have the conversation with my mom and communicate, but it's hard because like you say, breaking family curse. Like that's what she's used to, and I find myself too like standoffish. Like when a person is talking to you and you just like quiet. Like I remember I would have conversations with my husband, and I would just like not respond because I'm like I didn't know how to respond, or I know when I respond it's gonna be anger. I'm not gonna be able to voice how I really want to, everything that I really want to say. So it's just like I'm just standoffish. So I'm trying to get through that by having therapy and speaking to a therapist. But it's so many things that I've gone through in my life that has affected me. And it's like, I need to work on this first before I can step in to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to say I ever wondered, did you go to therapy? But I knew that, in my opinion, you had something that you kind of wanted to get off your chest, because I seen you one time kind of post. I think it was a post you commented on where the post was kind of talking about like the glow up stage and, the attention that you get now. Some of these same people that's in your inbox and wanting to talk to you and, oh man, you this and you that, all the praise that you get now. Years ago, it wasn't like that.
yeah, like
and,
you were the one that was
mm-hmm.
you remember,
you get the ones that try and be funny and be
Yeah.
mean and things like that. So I seen a piece of what you had said, and as you speak to it now, I mean that's good that you get a chance to get those feelings out, because a lot of times it's not always about just I'm finna shit on all y'all that treated me this particular
Never
way.
that.
But sometimes it's just a reminder to say, look how far I've come from where I once was.
Yeah.
But I also didn't forget. Because that's sometimes a learning lesson that a lot of us gotta get the hard way. I never forget there was this girl named Crystal. I won't say her last name because I don't, but there was a girl named Crystal. I honestly don't remember ever treating Crystal bad. But I do remember Crystal, didn't have the best of shoes, the best of clothes and stuff. And I remember years later, like when I was in my early 20s, I seen her on social media, and I had ran into her in Walmart. And I didn't speak because she was with a guy, and I didn't know how that situation would turn out. I don't want to get to going off because I'm speaking to an old friend or whatever. But I remember I connected with her on social media. Hey, how you doing? And, I ain't seen you in a long time. I'm just being friendly.
Right.
And she would not let this situation go. Just kept riding me about, you were so mean to me, and you were saying it, and you were calling me dirty, and saying I got lice in my hair. And I'm thinking in my head, I don't quite remember the story
Right.
going this way, but I was the bigger person, and I was just like it. I don't remember it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna say that I didn't say it. Obviously, you know what happened.
Right.
I apologize to you. I thought that was it. I tried to move on past and still kind of. And when I say she wouldn't let it go, and I started getting the Aries in me, now I'm getting mad. Now I want to go back to, yeah, I remember you was dirty, and you deserve. If I did say it, you deserved it. That's what you, and you're still dirty because I just saw you in Walmart. You over there shopping for TVs. You should have been in aisle such and such with the clothes. It's getting that point, and I was just like, nah, I'm just, and I just deleted her. I just kind of like let it go because it was like, wow. But you don't realize, what you have done to somebody as a kid, how
It's
it affects
crazy.
them in their adult life.
It's crazy to mention that, like, because I think it was like last week that me and my youngest brother, like not my youngest, but my second youngest brother had this conversation. I guess, like, I was like, where did this come from? He was like, me and mommy was having this conversation, like, why you not as close with your sister and your other brother, as Derek and Toya are? And he was like, Toya used to hate me growing up. And I was like, what? What do you mean? I never hated you. He was like, you remember you was so mean to me. He was like, you used to call me Blackie, or I was the black one of the family, or you used to just be mean to me. I remember you banged my head into the wall. I was like,
Lord.
I did that.
Violent.
We lived in the projects. I remember it. But growing up, I don't know what I'm traumatized about everything that happened growing up. So I don't have a lot of memory about my childhood. I don't remember.
You've
I think
erased
I
it.
really did. Like when people be like, "Oh, remember me from?" I don't remember you. Like I don't remember people's name or anything. So he was stating that like I hated him growing up. Like you did this to me, and I don't understand why. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I love you, you're my brother. Like, but he's like, but you used to be mean to me. You did this and then you did that. And I was like, I honestly don't remember. And I was just like, well, I apologize that happened. And I know why. Like, I was mean to him because I resented my mom. Like, I love her.
Yeah,
But
most definitely.
as a child, you took us from living with our aunt where we had a house and we had a bed and we had food there. My auntie made sure we was good, even though my mom, didn't have it all. And then you started dating these men, and now you're taking us away from the home to be with these guys. And my mom ended up having a baby by, his dad. And so it's like I kind of showed that I did not like you because of you were the product of being my mom dating your dad and get a baby.
That's heavy.
That is heavy.
That's heavy.
And so many people deal with that.
Because y'all stayed down the street from me. And do you know, until you just spoke on that, I thought it was just you and your brother. You and Derek.
I had three brothers, Derek, Terrence, and Darius. And people be like, well, how your dark-skinned brother doing?
You know what's crazy? If I'm not mistaken, one of your brothers, older brothers, is in the church, right?
Yeah, that's Terrence. That's the one they use.
When I started going to church, I didn't realize that until I just kept looking at his face one day. And I'm like, I know I don't know you. But the face is so similar to me. And then your mom was in church, and I saw your mom, and then that. So it's crazy. Yeah, I didn't never realize that until way later. And that's how I found out through the church. Because when y'all stayed down the street, I don't remember that. I just remember you and
he
Derek.
would always be gone. Like, it would just be me. It would be me and Derek, and then him. And he would just, pretty much be the child of West Calumet because he was everywhere. And, like, we was in the house. Like, Mom, how you trying to discipline us? But our younger brother out there, like... being the child of the West Calumet. So, yeah. I mean, that was really hard that he had said that. And it's like, you never know how what you do or what you say to other people could really affect them. I don't want people to feel like I'm being mean to them because I hated that I was being mean to, made fun of and, was mean. I don't know, like, people was mean to me. I don't want that.
I feel like everybody got talked about in East Chicago.
Yeah, they did,
like,
but
everybody.
It really affected people.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like it got done so much, people didn't realize. Like
they think it's normal.
Exactly. That's what
that was just part of how.
Yeah, everybody. Like, you about to get roasted. Yeah, like whatever. Like you know what I mean. Like it was so normalized. Yeah. Like you know what I'm saying. Being on lunch hour, like just being in the commissary, it was just like. Yo, Dusty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so normalized. It was like, yeah, okay. But, like, really, people was, like, going home and, like, really depressed about that.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Now, y'all on the pod, and we discussing this stuff, but I'm just sitting back as we talking about school, and I'm like, wow, you stayed down the street from me, and when we were kids, we had interactions. But when we got older, we knew each other, but me and you never really had much conversation, or we never laughed about old times. I don't think we really had much
My
of
mama
old
made me
times.
stay in the house.
Yeah. And then you were just a year under me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew exactly who you were, but me and you didn't really have like a whole lot of interaction. It was kind of like, I think for me, I just stuck to my inner circle, and that was pretty much it. Outside of like, if I was dating you or messing with you, I think I was in my own world. So now to like,
I don't remember too much interaction. Like, I knew who you were.
Mm-hmm.
I knew some of the people you dated. Like, that's how I knew who you were.
I ain't gonna say that.
Yeah, we'll leave it. We'll leave it.
We even highlight that.
We'll leave it. Like, I knew that.
That might be some curses.
I knew a couple times, like, you got on our bus. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, like,
somewhere I shouldn't have been going. And I had a car. And I had a car.
Right, yeah. So I remember that. But, like, that's it. Like, I ain't never, think one way. I was like, oh, yeah, that's Will Brown. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't,
Yeah. I just, as y'all were flowing, it just was something that was in my mind. I'm like, damn, she stayed down the street. I knew exactly who you was. You're a year younger. There was never no interaction through high school or any of that kind of stuff.
I wonder why that is, though. Like, because it's like it's like, for example, like, when I left Central, it's maybe like 5 or 6 of us who went down to IUPUIs. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really like I knew who they were, all with the exception of like Tina, because Tina was like my roommate my freshman year, and me and her, like, you know what I'm saying, we knew each other because we got off the bus at the same time, and we lived down the street, and we would go outside, you know what I'm saying, be in Hunky Town all the time, blah, blah, blah. That was the address I used, by the way.
Okay. Cheating the system.
Yeah, whatever. Brenda was not having me go, because I live down the street from work. Okay. Brenda was not having me go to work, like, under no circumstance. I don't know if Central was that much better, but we will never know. Like, you know what I mean? But, like, I knew who certain people, like,
y'all did get a championship out of it.
I mean,
so it might have been better. Y'all got championship. Shout out to each one in that class of 07 who got it done.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jones.
That was a mighty, mighty class, 2007. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I knew who she was because we, rode the bus together and we hung out together, you know what I'm saying, just in the neighborhood. But I want to say it was Devin, it was Brittany Jordan, and it was a couple of other people. Like, I wasn't like close knit with them in high school. It was like, all right, we in this foreign land. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though it's only a couple of hours away, it's like, exactly. It's like, you know where I come from. I know where you come from. I know, you know what I'm saying? We know some mutuals. All right, we got to click together. We got to, you know what I'm saying? It's a different, like, level of survival when y'all, like, put out of that placement. It's like, okay, now we got to talk. Mm-hmm. Like, because we gotta know, and like, we, you know what I'm saying, we went to college, ain't nobody had no cars, everybody came down there, financial aid, that type of situation, and you know what I mean, like, everybody trying to figure it out. Okay, like, so what we gonna do now?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anything else y'all want to add to this right here? Or family curses?
I just want to be better than what I was, what I grew up seeing, and I'm still learning, day by day.
Yeah. I'll end with, I'm definitely grateful that I had the opportunity to go to therapy. I was in therapy for 3 years, and I still keep in close contact with my therapist now. So shout out to therapy.
Yes.
Shout out to therapy.
I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have and I didn't have, because that definitely shaped the way that I look at things now. And, as I continue to grow and be better, I just hope that when I do have kids, that some of those things that were generational, like, they stop with me and I don't have to pass those down.
Mm-hmm. I want to throw this story out to you guys. I want to shout out a guy named Roger Bonds, who's from New York. He has a son named Kevin Townsend, who is incarcerated right now. Been incarcerated over 10 years in Namibia, which is in Africa. Alleged murder that took place. Been in there 10 years with no evidence of saying he's guilty. And I want people to research that story. The father name is Roger Bonds, selling shirts, everything he can do to get his son a lawyer, and hit the embassy up, American Embassy, ask questions. Roger Bonds is not looking for anybody to say, oh, he's innocent or guilty. He's just asking for justice. Get that man this day in court so we can figure out what's what. If he's innocent, let that man come home. If he's free, I'm sorry, if he's guilty, then he got to deal with consequences of what that is. But to see these stories of black men or men in general be incarcerated somewhere else and you're getting treated like shit, I think it's just crazy.
Absolutely.
So, that was a story that I had picked up on social media. I had been trying to follow it, Google it, and all the facts and stuff that they're putting out in the case, it's crazy to me. So a lot of people have probably never heard that story. And actually who Roger Bonds is a guy who used to roll with Diddy.
Okay.
Used to be his ambassador with the Ciroc and all of that kind of stuff, helping him out with the Sean John. A lot of Diddy's movies and stuff like that, he was actually in them, bodyguarding for him. So he was like a well-known guy for years. And a lot of people I see on social media, they'll say, well, what was he doing in Namibia? It's a free country.
Yeah, you can
go wherever you want to go.
American passport, guys, is pretty king internationally. And they find out you from America, you get treated like a king. I've experienced it. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, so I want people to check that story out. But I always like to take this portion of the show and let you all have the floor. If there's any shout outs you all want to give, if there's anything that came to mind as we went down this road of healthy conversation, I want to turn it over to you all. So I'll start with you if there's anything you want to say or throw out.
Well, I just want to thank the therapy company, Epiphany and Co. company for, being there and helping me through my journey of things I've been going through. And, a lot of black people probably don't want to get therapy or think it's like, I don't need therapy. I got my friends. Your friends get tired sometimes. It's okay to get therapy and work on you. Self-care is key.
Shout out to Francesca too. Francesca Cooley. I'll turn it over to you.
I'm gonna just take a moment and give gratitude. You know what I mean? Like I came up here, for a funeral. Actually, I had no intentions of doing any podcast or anything business related. So shout out for reaching out.
I appreciate you coming.
So I'm just ecstatic that we are starting to have these conversations. We're continuing these conversations, and we're starting to execute. Like it's no longer like, let's just bring awareness. Because for so long it was, we got to have awareness about this. We got to have awareness that it's like we know. It's like let's fix it. Yeah. So I'm happy to see that people are going to therapy. People are starting to reach out. People are starting to break generational curses. People are starting to be more financially sound as we continue to move out through generations and build generations of our own. So I'm definitely grateful to be a part of the millennial generation and our execution, our strategy, and our continued forward movement.
I want to shout out your parents because when I tell you, that is beautiful. Yeah. And that's something that I hope to get. So shout out to your parents for doing what y'all have done and instilled in this woman right here. I want to thank both of you ladies for coming through, especially you on short notice. I appreciate you setting your schedule to where you can make it, giving your story. Because a lot of people, you would approach them with this type of conversation. A lot of people take it as, you just flat shitting on your parents or uncles or whatever. And it's not that you're shitting on them, but, you just are in a space and a time to where you realize, I didn't really care for this. This is a trend I don't want to continue. So a lot of people wouldn't be as open as you guys were. I appreciate you coming through. The conversation was amazing. As far as you, the everything is everything, all purpose.
Yes.
Let's highlight how to get that seasoning.
You've been watching.
Yes,
all right. I love it. So that seasoning will be released in the next 2 weeks. That'll be on my website. I have 5 other seasonings. Just a quick glimpse. The Social Chef Food and Travel blog. It is a highlight of my travels. Also a chef, obviously with the name. Been cooking for a very long time, so I decided to make those flavors that I taste abroad available to people through a bottle. I also host master classes in teaching people how to travel abroad. That's also on my website. That is www.thesocial-chef.com. Same thing on all like Facebook and Instagram. Follow me. You'll be able to see that new seasoning, Everything is Everything, in the next 2 weeks. And I'm starting my kitchen collection. Currently, I have like these petite cutting boards that's available on my website. So yeah, go check me out.
Would you look
Hey.
at God? Would you look
Amen.
at God? All right. Hope y'all enjoyed this podcast episode. Again, breaking family curses. Until next time, we'll see you.